The development of musical theater within United States history is somewhat of an immigration story. Musical theater got its start following a huge wave of Irish immigration in the late 1800s. Of particular importance was George M. Cohan, whose grandparents were among these Irish immigrants. Around the same time, Jewish immigrants arrived from Eastern Europe, and African Americans moved to New York from the South, further developing the art form. Between 1916 and 1970, 6 million African Americans moved from the rural South to urban centers in the Northeast, Midwest, and West in search of jobs and other opportunities for better lives. In the late 19th century, African American musicians combined popular songs and marches with African American folk forms like ragtime, sacred music, and blues to create a new form of heavily improvisatory music. Like the Irish, these groups faced discrimination and had few opportunities for advancement. But the middle and upper class audiences that attended theater performances looked down on performing as a profession. Thus, it left the field wide open for the lower classes. For those who had talent, musical theater was a way out of poverty. Among the major pioneers of musical theater, there was influence on African American writers and performers, and also the less visible but significant contribution of women working as songwriters, lighting designers, and choreographers. In 1920, musicals began turning into films. This is a huge step forward for theaters. Now families all across the country could enjoy the Broadway shows at the comfort of their home. It became personal to watch. Shortly after, Hollywood began to face a dramatic boom, not only there but also in Broadway with musical theater, with film musicals. However, the industry did have a few bumpy roads. The genre's first decline came with the Great Depression, when only the sophisticated elite could afford tickets. The number of productions dropped by half, and shows became more sophisticated to attract an audience. Hollywood began to produce film musicals during this period, broadening the audience to a wider group of people. This included Oklahoma in 1943, Rodgers and Hammerstein on Broadway. It integrated its story, song, and dance more cohesively than any show had before. It ushered the golden age for musicals that would last for nearly 30 years within America. Classics on the screen continued to expand to great audiences throughout the United States. This included The Music Man in 1962, Gypsy in 1962, Fiddler on the Roof in 1971, Sweeney Todd and the Demon Barber of Fleet Street in 1982, and Hairspray in 2007. All of these had particular themes that would relate to the goings-on of the country of that time period and societal expectations. Another shakeup came with the Vietnam War. Growing cynicism led to shows like Cabaret and Sweeney Todd, which featured darker themes and anti-heroes as opposed to the comedy and light-hearted themes of love and fluttery that had gone on in musical theater before. Broadway composers initially chafed at the popularity of rock and roll music, but eventually incorporated rock and other pop styles as a trend that has continued, as we can see with Hamilton, which was a huge success in, I think, 2018. Hamilton features hip-hop music and has ushered a new kind of renaissance to musical theater that has introduced a new generation of Broadway. We see within musical theater highlights of issues within the society of America. As you can see, there's most a prioritized theme of race, as is seen through Showboat, which is in the 1920s, to West Side Story in the 1950s, to Hamilton today. And over the 120-year history of musical theater, there's about 37 major musicals that had dealt with race as a principal subject, and that speaks upon a lot of what was going in the heads of America at the time and fitting into the societal standard of the uniqueness and the beauty of the diversity within the country. Musical theater has had an incredibly large impact on the United States. It has always been a platform for social commentary and has played a significant role in shaping societal norms and values as seen through these themes. Shows like Rent and Angels in America have addressed important social issues regarding rights and challenging societal norms and fostering dialogue that can be taken outside the theater. This also expanded into other media within the United States so as to include a larger group of people, maybe lower class citizens, working class, that couldn't necessarily afford tickets to go and see these productions. This included like radio broadcast and film, as you see in War of the Worlds or Wizard of Oz, which transformed U.S. entertainment. Entertainment, as seen through all these different forms, became a way of escapism through tiring times. As escapist fantasies, these pieces of media showcased how good always triumphs over evil, which would have a great positive effect over the society, especially during hardship times of war, during Great Depression, during all these eras, and it gave Americans hope for a brighter future ahead. War of the Worlds showed how powerful radio was and how it connected to society. This would then cause people like FDR to pick up on this idea, utilizing the radio and all these new inventions and ways of reaching out to different parts of society in order to connect with the public. Wizard of Oz showcased potential for film and advanced in technology and brought sort of a series of hope.
Jukebox musicals not only kind of served as a memory to the composers and the music of the time, but also preserved the vocal styles and quality and the musicals within that historical period, kind of showcasing what life was really like. Right, guys?
Right! Professional organizations of musical theater include National Alliance of Musical Theater, the Actors Equity Association, League of Resident Theaters, American Theater Wing, American Association of Community Theater, Dramatic Guild of America, and Dance Studies Association. Theater is kind of an incorporation of all these different kinds of arts, and this is seen through many different levels of professional. As we see today, people buy professional tickets on Broadway, which is actually a street, and then there's several theaters on Broadway, even down to community or youth theater that we see young artists continuing to pursue their talents, continuing to grow, continuing to be artistically involved in the community today.
Can we sing? Thanks for watching. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Thanks for watching.